Okay, so welcome to today's video. We're just going to do a little update on the 2007 to 2014 board that I was working in the live stream I did either yesterday or a couple days ago, depending on when I upload this video. Today is Christmas, and that was a Christmas Eve special I did. I was just waiting for the kids to go to bed, so I grabbed a couple of random circuit boards, started messing with them. This one was supposed to be an instrument cluster I was going to sell to a customer. Basically, his claim was his cluster broke, he got mad, threw it away, doesn't have one at all, needs a instrument cluster that's set to 190,000 miles, so I'm guessing his truck probably has 250,000, and basically throughout the course of doing that video, I decided I probably was not going to sell this guy the instrument cluster, just because he had no way of showing his mileage. He didn't want to do a vehicle history report, didn't want to pay for it, and he had nothing other than like a 6-year-old title that was obviously lower mileage. So he didn't want to prove it, and obviously I could just have him sign an affidavit, and it's really not my problem anymore if he commits fraud. I just don't want to be party to it, and as a repair technician, you shouldn't want to be party to that either, because so let's say he does sell the car, and when he sells the car, he maybe kept a record of all the work that's ever been done to the car. I'm assuming most guys that commit fraud don't keep a record of stuff, but let's just assume that your customer is the world's dumbest customer in the world, and so they commit odometer fraud, sell the car, and then they get sued for it, and there is a record that has your name on it as the person that did the work. Although you didn't commit the odometer fraud, and you're probably not in trouble. I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. Let's go there first. This is not legal advice, but it's pretty clear that I wouldn't be the one liable, and that it would be him because he's the one that actually lied about the odometer value, and he's the one that committed fraud. It'd still be an inconvenience for me because I could get subpoenaed and actually have to come get deposed, and actually have to go attend the court hearing and be like, yes, this guy brought me this instrument cluster and said it had X number of miles, and whatever. So yeah, that's just inconvenient. So whenever you just get that kind of tingle that this person's lying to you, just don't do the work. It's not worth the 50 $60 profit, maybe $80, whatever you're making. It's not worth it, especially because if you do get wrapped up in it, and for some reason, also, I don't know if you've ever been to a civil matter or stuff. A lot of it's just up to how the judge feels. If he feels like this guy is also party to it, you could be facing fines yourself too. Even if the law is cut and dry that no, you're not. If the judge feels like it, the judge feels like it, and then you have to either pay the fines or go up to a higher court and fight it, which is always more expensive than paying the fines. I've dealt with some of this in real estate before, so I've had evictions that were clear, cut and dry. The tenant didn't pay their rent, and then they came and cried their heart out to the judge, and the judge is like, well, yeah, you did everything right, but I feel bad for this person, so you have to give them, a couple more months to try to catch up or whatever. And the tenant always lies. They always go in and lie to the judge. And they're like, I have the money. I'll get caught up. I'll get caught up. And they never do. They never do. It always sucks when the judge goes with their heart on an issue because it never works out. And I'm not some heartless landlord that's kicking people out, but I also it's a for-profit business. It's not a charity. If you're not paying your rent, you gotta go. That's a side note, and I just wanted to get that out there. Kind of like if you have a inkling or feeling that your customer is trying to commit odometer fraud, you really don't want to be involved in that because yeah, it's been making a lot of headline news lately too. I've probably in the last week I've seen a news article from Michigan of somebody getting in trouble for it. I saw another one from Ohio of somebody getting arrested for odometer fraud, and these were like used car lots that were rolling them back themselves. They're getting like an OBD star off of eBay, just putting in the OBD port and just rolling them back. And there's I remember last year seeing a news article of a guy out of Jacksonville getting scammed by a used car lot. He bought the car, then he pulled a vehicle history report, and it had, he bought it at 100,000 and it had 300,000 on it, something along those lines. So, but yeah, tons of news articles on it. I think part of I'm just seeing a lot of them lately because I use Google News, so algorithms feed you stuff they think you want, and I have so much cluster repair stuff. I'm sure that's part of the reason why I'm seeing it in the news. But it is out there. It is happening. You don't want to be involved in that. I promise you. I promise you, you don't want to be involved in it. There's some pretty hefty fines that go along with it. Just kind of public service stuff. But yeah, so I'm not going to sell this to that customer unless he finally will bite the bullet and buy the vehicle history report and show it to me. Other than that, he's not going to get this. But let's take a look at it and see what's going on here now that we're 6 minutes into a hopefully quick video. Just a reminder, if you didn't catch the live stream, check it out. It's kind of long though. It was a lot of just rambling. But yeah, this one, it has odometer error. It's got a known good EEPROM on it, and this is actually the EEPROM that over here, if I can get it out of there. There's an EEPROM sitting down there in that cup there. There it is. I can see it on the camera. This one's actually the one flashed with the mileage the customer wants on here. But yeah, we're getting odometer error with this, and we checked it on the live stream, just made sure it was getting power, and we just looked to see if we were getting signal at all on some pins on here. And basically what we had going on is we had a signal to the clock signal and the master out slave in pin, but we had nothing coming to the master in slave out, also known as your Q. And so I have them written down here. Hopefully this comes across the camera pretty easy to read. But yeah, chip select is S, pin 1. Then you have master in, slave out, which means that it is the data output pin from there. Underneath that is the write protection, which we really don't need to worry about because we're not trying to write on here at all. And then ground is pin 4. 8 is your 5 volts. And then your hold pin is one that we could possibly be concerned with. That one, what it's supposed to do is on a clock cycle down, so on the low end of a clock cycle, if you pull hold low also, if you pull both of them, if they go low at the same time, it will put the chip into a hold mode where nothing will talk. And then you have below that is clock. And then we have master out, slave in, or the data in pin for this, however you want to refer to that. So we got this to kind of look at it. So let's just, we already know we have the 5 volts. I'll just show it to you real quick. So let me power this thing up. Alright, so there you go. It's showing 4.6 if y'all can read it on there. So we have that. And let's just check the hold pin while we're here. Hold is high. And let's just verify here that we do still have odometer error. We still have odometer error. So it's still not reading the EEPROM. Let's reboot this again just so that way we can get it to communicate. Let's take a look at, we'll just check the clock line. Okay, so, I just was looking in the video to see if we had clock at all. I mean, we have clock, but it looks kind of funky there. That doesn't look right. Let's look at it again. Alright, so the clock is definitely not looking correct. So the clock should go all the way to ground. So we have something else mixed in there. Let's take a look at our master in, slave out. We got to reboot this thing again to get it to talk to it again. So master out, slave in. And we have the exact same. These are exactly what we just saw, isn't it? Let's try this again. Alright, so we definitely have a hint here. It looks like we may have these two, these two might be bridged somewhere. So let's turn off the power supply. Let's get the, I'm just gonna use the multimeter here. Y'all never can hear this one, so y'all can't hear it, but let me just check. And sure enough, those are bridged. Let's take a look under the microscope and see if it looks like it's actually bridged on here or if we have it going on somewhere else. The pins we're looking at are these two right here, and definitely not seeing any sort of bridging going on there. I know it's not the world's best angle, and the microscope's a little bit shaky, but let's go ahead and just take this off and see if we see something underneath it. Maybe it's under it. Elsewise, we're dealing with the short somewhere else on the board. Alright, I still do not see a bridge anywhere. See, maybe is it is that something right there? There may be something right there. Let's check it real quick and see. There may be just a little tiny fleck of metal there. Yeah, it looks like we had that little flake of metal because it was going for just a second there, and then it quit. So looks like we may have got a metal flake in here. But let's go ahead and just clean it up. Try putting the EEPROM back on, and see if it works. But yeah, it looks like maybe it was some leftover solder braid from a previous repair on this board that I may have done. This one, like I said in the live stream, this board had been sitting in my pile of extra circuit boards for quite a while now. And now that we got it all clean, there's no flux or anything sitting on it anymore. Let's just double check. Yep. So no longer having the odometer error issue. Well, sorry. No longer has a short across it, so that might be what our problem was. And again, no longer have a short across it. So let's clean this up and double check it on the thing. It's maybe as simple as had a little flake of metal on there causing all of our issues. Okay, so now we have the known good EEPROMs. This is not the one that I programmed last night, and that's it. That's all we've done. We've verified that there is no longer a short, so we got that little metal flake off of there. Let's see what we get like that. Let's see if it's now working. Okay, so let's get over here to, and there we go. So it is now a working EEPROM that's on there with a good write to it. So we know this is good to go. Now, before we just go soldering on the old one, or not necessarily the old one, but the one that I programmed last night, let's just, for the fact of not having to desolder it again, just double check what we programmed to it too. So just make sure we did a good job on it yesterday instead of doing it wrong. So I double checked it already, and I already know that it's wrong. Let's take a look at it. So we had two things going on last night. We had a it wasn't a solder bridge. It was a flake of metal bridging it. So, which is why I did try off camera before, just with some solder wick, trying to wick it and see if that's where the short was. Because I couldn't see it under the microscope, a bridge between the two. I was like, maybe it's down under the chip. Can't see it. Let me try with some solder wick. Still at a bridge, so we know it wasn't just solder. There was actually like a little flake of metal. I'm assuming it was something that was stuck to the soldering iron. Probably my little sponge is starting to fall apart. The little metal thing is just coming apart. So it could have been a little tiny piece of that, or it was the last repair I had done before I did the video last night. Was I put LEDs on a 2003 AC controller, which those are 6 volts, so I have to slide one of the LEDs off and do that. It could have been one of the little legs of the LEDs, because I just melt the whole thing with the soldering iron to get them off of there. So that could have been where that flake of metal came from. I'm not sure where it came from, but that was definitely not solder. That was definitely a little piece of metal that was bridging between the two. We got lucky there. We didn't damage anything. We just had clock and data to each other, making it just useless for it. It can't read that. So okay, let's go take a look at what I did wrong on the EEPROM also. So I gave it a bad write too. So okay, so here is what we programmed to it last night, and here is what we should have. I made a typo when I wrote the one I used last night on here. So we'll take a look at it. It's easier to read it on here. So let's go ahead and paste it, and you can see that we offset all of this a little bit and got it wrong here. So I when I was prepping to make the video, just had a little typo in this guy. It should have been E6. So it should have been E6 and 1950. So the 1950 got offset by 1, and the 04 got left in there from the old write. So we'll just go ahead and correct all of this. Okay, so now we've saved it. Let's check this. Let's just device, read. Let's make sure we got a good connection on there. Yep, we got a good connection. Let's go ahead and file open. And this was 08 correct is what this is saved as. Okay, device, program. And there we go. This should work now. So we're going to go ahead, take this EEPROM back off of here, put the other one on, and verify that it works. Now, I do not know when that little metal flake got there, because that one, with it being written wrong, probably would have given an odometer error also. Maybe it would have given a different value, but it should have given an odometer error, because these repeat. It's just a repeat twice here, and with one of the two repeating there, it should have flagged that as corrupted and then given it odometer error. So let's now solder on the new one. New. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so that way y'all can see what we're doing over here. Put a little flux on the chip. Alright, so let's power this thing up. And there we go. That's what we were going for, somewhere around 190,000 miles. So I think it's 191, I think is what we were going for yesterday. I don't remember. I really don't remember what this guy wanted on here, because I didn't look again, and I don't plan on actually selling it to him unless he shows me some proof. But I just wanted to kind of go back over this, since we left it as a failure on the end of that last video. So now we've gone over it, we see what mistakes were made. Basically, definitely made a mistake programming the EEPROM. It may or may not have already had that short across the clock and data line when we put that on there. Not entirely sure, but when we put the known good EEPROM on there, we definitely had the short between the clock and data line. Got lucky there that it was just between clock and data. It could have been worse. We could have shorted one of the other lines to ground and possibly damaged our microcontroller or EEPROM. But just a nice simple one where, if you short the two data lines together, you're really not gonna damage anything. It's not very likely there. So we got lucky with that one. Definitely could not see a bridge with the naked eye there at all. Couldn't even see it under the microscope until we actually took the EEPROM off. Then I could see it, and when I got the probes across to check it, it beeped for half a second, and then my hand slid and knocked the little flake of metal off of there, and then it quit showing it. So who knows when and how that flake got there? It's either some contaminant that was on my soldering iron, or it's something that just fell onto this circuit board, because this has been sitting as just a bare circuit board in my office for probably 6 or 7 months now. It's just one of my spare boards I had. Could have fallen in there at any time, so not sure when, where, how that happened, but now we've got it fixed, and we can we can just put this one to rest here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and enjoyed watching me go over my own mistakes here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.